It's always a good time to talk about Metroid, and this time, I want to talk about Super Metroid.
It's one of those games I'm surprised I haven't talked about on the channel yet. Time to fix that.
Super Metroid is an all-time classic, and one of the most impressive parts to me is how Nintendo managed to elevate Samus with a bunch of new and improved power-ups. Let's talk about them. Super Metroid is what the box art says, but the flashing title screens hit you with Metroid 3. In the first game, Samus was sent to fight space pirates on the planet Zebes. During her adventure, she encountered the parasitic Metroids that give the series its name. In Metroid 2: Return of Samus, she went to the Metroids' home planet to eradicate them, but ended up becoming the imprinted mother of one of the babies. Super Metroid begins with Samus delivering that baby to a research station, where space pirate leader Ridley promptly steals it. With that, we have our new mission. Follow Ridley and retrieve the baby Metroid. This takes us back to the same planet from the first game, Zebes.
Maybe that's why some people call it the best one.
Returning to familiar territory meant Nintendo had to find a way to make the planet feel fresh and dangerous again. Fans had already conquered it on the NES, so the Super Nintendo version had to have its own spin on things. Retrieving the baby means defeating 4 big bosses, including Kidnapper Ridley. The spiky space pirate Kraid also returns, alongside newcomers Phantoon, who's a one-eyed ghost squid thing, and Dragon, who's kind of a dragon, but also a seahorse that shoots webs. I think it's safe to say these two aren't considered as classic as Ridley and Kraid. 4 bosses means 4 key zones to explore: Brinstar, Norfair, Meridia, and the wrecked ship. To conquer them, Samus will have to use a bunch of new powers. There are 8 new ones to be exact: Super Missiles, the Charge Beam, Power Bombs, the Speed Booster, the Grapple Beam, the Gravity Suit, the X-Ray Scope, and the Hyper Beam all debuted in Super Metroid. You might not always unlock them in that order, but that's how I'm going to talk about them. Every one of these power-ups was a conscious choice to take Samus's skills to the next level, making frequent use of new functions on the Super Nintendo. Metroid fans should get a lot out of this video, but I think it'll also be helpful for looking at Metroidvanias and sequels in general. I tried to group these new power-ups in broader categories, and the Super Missiles, Charge Beam, and Power Bombs are all direct improvements of Samus's pre-existing primary weapons. As Samus begins her second descent into Zebes, she'll encounter both familiar and brand new roadblocks. These rocks don't look quite like the regular bomb symbols, and these bolt blocks seem perfectly placed for you to swing across. Red hatches are all too familiar to Metroid players. Hit them with 5 regular missiles to open the door. But Super Metroid introduces a new green hatch, and your regular missiles won't even put a dent in it. Cue the fight with the Spore Spawn in Brinstar. This thing guards Super Metroid's new Super Missile.
It's called the Super Nintendo. Everything's gotta be super. We've got more buttons now.
This is usually the first upgraded weapon you acquire in the game, and therefore it carries a lot of extra meaning. It's the key to those new green hatches, but it's also a symbol of the new dangers you're going to face on this revamped version of Zebes. Regular missiles were good enough the first time around, but now you need even more firepower. That's a scary thought. Grabbing the Charge Beam comes pretty quickly after the Super Missiles, now that you can open new doors. Its purpose is clear from just the name. Rather than spam individual shots from your arm cannon, you can hold and release for a more powerful, concentrated blast. Again, we're being told that our standard weaponry isn't good enough anymore. Samus has to overcharge and release her main gun to deal sufficient damage to tougher enemies. This concept continues to build as different flavors of firepower are found later on. You can combine the Charge Beam with the Ice Beam or Plasma Beam for even more powerful focused shots. I could try to sound smart and talk about what that means for calculating damage or Super Metroid's sense of progression, but real talk, the Charge Beam just feels good. Now, if the regular classic bombs are like little drills that help you chisel through rocks one by one, Then the new power bombs are like dynamite that blasts away the entire cave wall. These things rule. They can wipe the screen of certain enemies, open yellow doors, and clear some of those stronger bomb blocks we saw earlier. Like I said at the top of this section, we're building on the weapons we already know here. The Morph Ball can get around well enough by rolling through tunnels and bomb jumping into narrow openings, but this tiny, vulnerable form really needs a buff this time around. With power bombs in hand, Samus has found upgrades for all of her standard weapons, which means the rest of the new power-ups are free to be brand new ideas. This next trio is grouped by movement. All three of them give Samus new ways to get around. Norfair is where you'll find the Speed Booster, one of my personal favorites. After holding a sprint for a moment, Samus will reach a turbo speed that lets her bust through enemies and certain blocks. Furthermore, if you press down to stop in your tracks, you can store all that kinetic energy and unleash it with a special jump known as the Shine Spark. It's one of the coolest maneuvers in all of Metroid. Speed boosting and shine sparking would go on to be staples of 2D Metroid games. Fusion and Dread hide a bunch of goodies that can only be reached once you figure out the right place to start your sprint and activate your Shine Spark. It's always satisfying to pull it off. These moves build off of the same simple mechanic, dashing. Before Super Metroid, we couldn't make Samus run faster, but with the SNES's new controller, Nintendo could make use of more face buttons.
This B button down here is perfect for dashing.
Anyone who played the Super Mario games before Metroid was already familiar with this move. I don't think it's unreasonable to compare the Shine Spark to Mario's Tanuki suit or cape. So in one game, Nintendo incorporated a new input, used it to give Samus a dash ability, then cranked that up to 11 with the Speed Booster. What's more, the concept clicked with anyone who already engaged with previous Nintendo games. The Speed Booster is a winner in every category. Another winner is the Grapple Beam, also found in Norfair. Much like how Mario's special suits have a cousin in the Speed Booster, Zelda's Hook Shot is a fair comparison here. A Link to the Past came first, so the same line of thinking is quite clear. Both tools are about latching onto a point and reaching new places. Where Link's hookshot connects and immediately pulls him toward the target, Samus's Grapple Beam initiates a swing that can be used to fling yourself around, opening up Spider-Man-style possibilities for platforming. I like that this tool is considered a beam. There's a slight subversion of expectation in its primary purpose in swinging instead of shooting. That said, it does have its uses in combat, including the absolute gnarliest strategy for defeating Dragon. The Grapple Beam isn't the only weapon in Samus's kit that doubles up like this. The Ice Beam is strong enough to freeze enemies in place, and it also turns them into temporary platforms that you can cross. Between that and Link's Hookshot, there's a case to be made for Metroid fans already being primed for something like the Grapple Beam. Much like the Speed Booster's connections to both Metroid and Mario, this all comes together to make the Grapple Beam feel a little less alien. No pun intended. Now, I'm not about to argue that Link's blue and red mail from A Link to the Past are akin to Samus's different outfits, especially since her Various suit came first. But I am gonna use that as my segue. If you don't upgrade to the Various suit in Super Metroid, the lava rooms in Norfair will roast you in seconds. But of course, this video is about the new toys in Super Metroid. And just as your old school weapons get leveled up in this game, the same goes for your armor. Once you find the gravity suit in the wrecked ship, you'll get higher damage reduction and a snazzy purple appearance. Let me just say right off the bat, I love the look of the gravity suit. Taking the yellow and orange of the previous armor sets and moving to the opposite side of the color wheel is an inspired choice. It's simple but effective game design. Mechanically speaking, the gravity suit allows you to move freely in water, and that's important since Super Metroid introduces the series' first aquatic area, Meridia. All it takes is a power bomb to open the way, but without the gravity suit, you won't be able to make any progress. At least blowing open the glass tunnel is super satisfying on its own. Meridia is a combination of quicksand pits and deep pools of water, so you can see why the gravity suit is required to get around. You'll also need it to enter Deep Norfair, where Ridley resides. Oh yes, the gravity suit also works in lava. If Metroidvanias are about gaining abilities and feeling all-powerful in the late game, then swimming through lava without taking damage has gotta be one of the best feelings of all.
You might even say it feels Super.
Nintendo took things up another notch with the gravity suit. Previous games used the Varia suit to make Samus resistant to higher temperatures and raise her defense. Super Metroid used the upgraded version to make you impervious to lava, fully mobile in the water, and extra buff to boot. These last two new toys are in their own categories, and it's for special reasons. The X-ray scope is unlike any of the previous power-ups because it's not used in combat, and it doesn't help you get around, but it does help you see what's around you. Extra missiles and energy tanks have been quite well hidden since the dawn of Metroid, and the X-ray scope is the solution for the most obtuse instances of that. As the name implies, it lets you scan the surrounding area to reveal secret passages, hidden items, and breakable blocks. You can find it in Brinstar as soon as you get the Grapple Beam, and once you do, it's worth using pretty much all the time. Super Metroid introduced several power-ups that would go on to be series staples, and the X-ray scope is part of the club. The Prime series has visors that accomplish the same effect. Samus Returns has a scan pulse that lights up secrets on the map around you, and the pulse radar does the same thing for your immediate surroundings in Metroid Dread. But the significance of the X-ray scope doesn't stop there. You see, Super Metroid was also the first one to introduce an in-game map, a godsend for anyone who already navigated their way through the first two games. Finding a map station means seeing just how big Zebes really is this time around. Not only can you get a bird's eye view when you pause the game, but you can also focus up and analyze each individual room for its secrets. Just as the dash was both introduced in this game and upgraded via the speed booster, the map was added and capitalized upon with the X-ray scope.
They even used the same button.
I wanted to save the Hyper Beam for last because, well, it comes at the very end of the game. This whole video has been about how Super Metroid's new toys took the game to the next level, and the final fight is no exception. Once those 4 big bosses are defeated, we can re-enter Turian, where we'll come into contact with a giant mutated Metroid, the same one we've been trying to save this whole time. She's not a baby anymore. Just past her is the final boss, and since we're back on Zebes, you can guess who it is, the infamous Mother Brain. The battle starts out the same as the original Metroid. We dodge those deadly rings, blast through protective panels, and unleash hell on Mother Brain herself. But then, something new happens. Mother Brain stands up. I guess she's not just a brain in a jar after all. Phase 2 pits us against this true form of Mother Brain, and she has an unavoidable laser attack that leaves us completely helpless. At this moment of greatest need, our newly grown-up Metroid daughter swoops in and saves the day. She saps Mother Brain's energy and transfers it to us. Now, that deadly laser beam is ours. This is the Hyper Beam, and it's the raddest possible way to end the fight. The multicolored blast is enough to put Mother Brain down for good. Cue the countdown as we escape the planet before the whole thing explodes. That ought to do it. In a vacuum, this explosive ending is already a fantastic way to wrap things up. The long list of power-ups leads us here, the multi-stage battle feels like a proper final challenge, the grown-up Metroid saves its adoptive mother, and the escape sequence echoes the game's opening on the space station. Now here's why this climax matters in the grand scheme of Metroid. Stop me if you've heard this one before. It built upon everything the series had already established, and started a new trend for the games to come. We've already seen how Samus's arm cannon got upgraded with the new charge beam, in addition to the returning ice beam, plasma beam, and more. The Hyper Beam is the last stage of this progression. It's the final push that takes your gun to the limit, just enough to put Mother Brain down for good. That moment is echoed throughout the rest of the series. In the 3D Prime games, Samus uses a Phazon beam that serves the same purpose, attacking the titular Metroid Prime with alien energy. Back in 2D, the Ice Beam is given to Samus so she can stop the Omega Metroid at the end of Fusion. In Metroid Dread, the Hyper Beam proper returns as the ultimate weapon against Ravenbeak X, another final boss. The Hyper Beam and the precedent it set really are that important. and that all started with Super Metroid. A lot of things started with Super Metroid. That's the core of this video. Those 8 new power-ups are awesome, but I don't just want to rattle them off and gush. They didn't come out of the blue, and there are lessons we can learn here. As we've seen, the 3 new weapons built upon what came before. For Metroid fans, there was a familiarity built into the super missiles, charge beam, and power bombs. It's easy to use them instinctively, but they still feel like significant upgrades to the arsenal. That's a lesson that can be applied to sequels and Metroidvanias in general too. What does it mean to take your established ideas to the next level? As for Super Metroid's mobility improvements, the Speed Booster, Grapple Beam, and Gravity Suit opened up entire new pathways for Samus to follow. In the case of the Speed Booster, it was an upgrade to the dash ability that was also introduced in this game. In the same vein, an in-game map debuted in Super Metroid, and the new X-ray scope combined with that to help players find hidden items as they navigated individual rooms within a wider world. Again, we can use this line of thinking with other games. Can new ideas and mechanics be introduced as is, or are they worth upgrading as the adventure goes on? Finally, the Hyper Beam was used in conjunction with a final multi-stage battle to give the game an epic finish. Samus's history and current weapons all came together for a memorable showdown with Mother Brain. In terms of other sequels or Metroidvanias, the question here is simple. What sort of memorable moment do you want to use to close out the game?
I'm not a game developer myself, but these questions can still help regular players like me to look at a game I love with a more critical lens.
Super Metroid is a revered classic for a reason. It took Samus to deeper, never-before-seen levels of Zebes as she chased down the kidnapped baby Metroid. In the same way, I hope this video gives you a deeper appreciation of the game.
Okay. Hey, thank you so much for watching this video. If you like what I'm doing here on Framework, please hit that subscribe button in the middle. It would help me out an awful lot if you do. And if you want to check out what I've already cooked up, you can hit that link on the far left. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.